All right, another little installment. I just realized that I should probably go over a couple basic like theories, like the big ones. In international relations or just politics, political science in general. The like granddaddy of them all is what we call realism, and it's oh you have philosophers like Thucydides, Machiavelli, Hobbes, not Carr, Morgenthau, and all ascribing to this. Kenneth Waltz is another big one. And realism is the view that political science or international relations shouldn't be focused so much on what the world should be like, as in what the world is like, and how to take care of yourself in that world. Because, like Hobbes describes, it's a jungle out there where everyone is just in it for themselves, and they'll fight and eat each other alive. It's dog eat dog, right? People's nasty, brutish, short lives, and that's what it is. You have to always live in a state of competition, so you got to make sure that you're bigger, stronger, smarter, faster than the other guys, unless you want to get killed. And the way that translates over to politics is there's no real helpline or police to come and save your state if anything goes wrong. If you are Bermuda and a hurricane comes along, you can't really call on anyone and say like, "Oh no, help us, help us." And it's like, "Sorry, dude, you're your own state. Like, deal with it yourself." Granted, every once in a while you have other states come and help you out of the goodness of their hearts, or because they want something from you, or because they're just insane. But for the most part, realists would say you can't count on anybody else's help. The only help that you can trust is yourself. It's sort of similar to that. If you want it done right, do it yourself, because you don't know if the other guys are going to do it well, or if the other guys are going to take advantage of your compromised position and take all your stuff. So realists place a lot of emphasis on security. National security is pretty much the driving force for realists, and they see national security as in the survival of the state. That is the number one goal. That is what states want and what states actively pursue. And another thing realists do is they tend to discount a lot of the other little factors that get involved. They view states as unitary, which it means like the entire state acts as one thing. It's just one. That is Russia. All Russia acts the same way because it's Russia. It's a state. And it's rational, meaning that it will it will look out for its own self-interest. It'll try and make sure that it does better than it had been doing before. That'll get some benefits. So when we say that they're unitary, rational actors, we know that they aren't homogenous inside, and there are little factions, but we treat them that way. It's how we can say like, "Oh, Uncle Sam." It's like, well, the United States is a vastly different, like varied patchwork of lots of cool cultures and different things, different opinions. But on the international relations plane, so what? Like, I don't care if Alabama doesn't agree with Mississippi. Like, the USA decides to go and invade Iraq, defend Kuwait, stuff like that. Right? It acts as just one giant thing. And rational is like, well, we decided to go invade Iraq because Kuwait was our buddy and it had some really nice oil wells, and we sort of like that. Things like that. Realists don't think that there's this nammy-pammy altruism that's a front for something else. Like, yeah, like it's awesome to say like, "Oh, developing countries, we love you so much. We want to give you some money. Also, give us your resources or we'll beat you up." Or, all right, so like we've parked a bunch of our industries here and we sort of want to boost them, so we'll help you guys out so like you don't suck so much so we can make more money. There's lots of different ways that realists will see it, but the lens that realists view the world is usually fear and self-serving, because those are the things you can count on. Realists, this isn't to say that realists are all just like horrible people that are like, "Well, the world is terrible and it's going to hell." Like, there are a lot of realists that work really hard on making the world a better place. It's not saying that you can't have ideals and trying to work towards them. Realists, however, recognize that hoping that if everyone's a democracy, we won't fight each other is naive. That it's like, like just because they're a democracy or they have been our friends in the past doesn't mean that they'll always stay that way. And doesn't mean that we can always rely on them to come help us out if anything goes wrong. Realists would argue that their philosophies, their ideas were pretty well expressed in, say, the Cold War. And it turned out that it was actually generally more peaceful than when the idealists were running the show. Because in the Cold War, yeah, everyone was scared. And yeah, there were conflicts and stuff, but everyone knew sort of, all right, if the USA attacks the Soviet Union or the Soviet Union attacks the USA, everyone dies. So let's really try hard not to make that happen, right? Whereas the idealists had been sort of not in charge, but they had been dominant a little bit before during World War I and World War II. It's like, ooh, if we have a bunch of international organizations and cooperation, like, it'll all be better. And then just, and we had 2 world wars, and like, it was terrible, and the realists were sort of vindicated because, like, you idiots, like, you have too many moving parts, and you don't focus on the important ones, so yeah, you can't predict anything. So the realists sort of got the upper hand, but not really. I mean, it's a great debate, and it's been going on since the beginning of philosophy, I suppose. Other things about realism, there's now neo-realism, which focuses even less. Classical realism focuses more on, like, people are bad, so you have to sort of use their bad natures to get good results, right? And you can't trust anybody. Neo-realism focuses more on the fact that because the world is anarchic, meaning there's no police, except America, right? There's no world police, there's no real hierarchy of, like, well, you can't do that to me because I'll tell mom. Like, no, everyone's on their own. There's anarchy. There's no government or world power. People are always on their own, or states are always on their own. And so that leads to the constant possibility of conflict or other people screwing you over. And so they're more of a structural realist type than the classical realists that just viewed as human nature to exploit or dominate or conquer other people. And I suppose that's the 2 big parties in realism, and it's one of the greatest like schools of thought that we have in international politics. So that's realism. Have fun. If I had to peg some of my close colleagues, I would say Dad is a realist, and Sterling's a realist too. Both of them are much more focused on getting it done rather than what could be, right? Not to say that they're as amoral and rascally as a lot of realists would expect them to be, but if you push 1 or 2 of them, I don't know, like they might, who knows? And the realists would argue that everyone, if pushed to the wall, will become a realist. Even if they say they're an idealist or anything, when the chips are down, everyone looks out for themselves, or everyone looks out for the survival of their state. I was like, well, there's a lot of evidence to support it. I'll try and next time argue the idealist or the liberal. Oh, man, it's better to call them idealists. Liberal has a different connotation. The idealist point of view of how the realists have some things right, but they also have constructed their own worldview based on fear and then make a bunch of self-fulfilling prophecies and then exclaim that they're right. So next time, that'll be fun, right? Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.